Okay, so I guess I feel obligated to at least respond to the video called School, Enslaving Youth and Discouraging Thought Part 1 by McGarnacle. I thought this was a very thoughtful video, and it's almost hard for me to express how much I couldn't agree more over the problem with the way rubrics have entered the academy. I'm not sure if they're used at lower levels. I don't use them in my classes. I know many other faculty who really despise them. I know some faculty who like them and really employ them, and I think there are reasons for some professors to use them in some contexts. I think many professors either have some sort of profit to be gained by their employment, or they see some interests of their own to be served, or they're lazy professors who are evading the actual duty of making a judgment. The ability to render judgment is a very, very difficult task, and it's time consuming and it's demanding, and many people flee from that by having little checkpoint criteria, a little X number of points for this and a little X number of points for that. I really do agree with that. That said, though, I think the thing that I would want to respond to you is what's the real point? As much as I respect your video and I think you're a very thoughtful person and I agree with the problem of the way that creativity is happening, it's not at the university level. Um, McGarnacle, I think what you want to see it is for what it's worth. Nobody's forcing anybody to go to university. You're not forced to go. You're not under state obligation. It's not like high school where you have to have the babysitter there sitting watching over you. If you're unhappy with your education, you get out of those classes, or you get out of that university, or you get out of university at all. You own with zeal and passion who you're going to be when you grow up, and you don't let anything stop you. That's the deal. Otherwise, it sounds like some sort of, oh, geez, I'm oppressed. I'm oppressed because I have bad teachers. Well, look, everyone has had teachers that were not the best teachers. I think all of us have had wonderful teachers, and probably all of us have had teachers who we thought, well, this person was not the best teacher. I think even if we accept that, the task is to not let your education interfere with your learning. To get in the learning mode, you get up, you get in the library, you get there early. I've never seen the person who really, really was taken down by some bad professors. Now, could the bad professoring really be a tragedy? I think there's a lot of it out there. I think there are lazy professors. Let's be honest, there's lazy students, there's lazy professors. There are professors who their passion is gone because now they think all the students are lazy. I think there are students who their passion is gone because they don't know why they're there. If you don't know why you're in university, get out right now. You're wasting your time. You're wasting the time, and there's probably seats that are being taken by you by other people could be taking, but you're just hanging around there being a warm body. Yeah, I think the task is to rigorously. You get up in the morning and you get up early and you do it seriously. You take it over. You see, I think what Kenneth Burke would say would be something like this. The problem when we talk about things is that it's ambiguous. We always give accounts and explanations for why we do what we do, but when we do that, we slide between three different kinds of accounts. There's because of, there is in order, there's this because of, there is regardless of, and then there's in spite of, right? So you could say, well, I didn't do well in school because of that teacher, or you could say I didn't do well in school regardless of that teacher, or you'd say I didn't do well in school in spite of that teacher. In the same way that you could say I did really a great job on a project because of, or regardless of, or in spite of. Word choices are very funny. They give us so much freedom by how we choose to account for it, and then we cover over that freedom by paying the post hoc ergo propter hoc, rather than really designing in a forward way how we're going to own with zeal and passion and with fun, because you have the freedom to do it. If you're not you, who's going to do it? And you have to own it. Right? It's not like a bummer of a thing to have responsibility. I think responsibility for some people feels like a bummer for them because they haven't had enough of it at an early age. But the more that they get accustomed to it, they'll wonder why they've ever wanted to live in their parents' basement. They'll go, wow, what was I thinking with any of that? I think tons of people would rather bitch about bad teaching than they would just get out of school and go try to figure out how to make it on their own. There are many people. I know people. I'm in my 40s, right? I'll be 41 this year. I know people who are my age who never went to college and they make lots of money. You know, if that's what people want, if what you want to do is to be comfortable and to have lots of money and some security, somebody whose lights are on, and by that I mean somebody who's in the learning mode, somebody who's actively thinking and growing, and they in all aspects of their lives, they own their lives with responsibility and with passion and with their eyes wide open and their full engagement and dialogue with other people. They're going to do great. They're going to do great. Will some people benefit just by having a degree because a relative has a position and they can't hire the person unless they're properly credentialed? Oh yeah, happens all the time. I don't think anyone wants to deny it. I think as far as the university thing goes, there are suggestions. You know, not everyone would do this in my classes. For whatever it's worth, it's not the only way to do it, and I think some people wouldn't like this, but I do. I grade only by the last digits of. We have a G number, right? It's not a social security number, but it's a G number. It's an individuator number, and I do by the last four digits of there. So I grade everything anonymously. I give roughly what we're after. I want excellence. I want things to be done as if it demonstrated foresight, as if it demonstrated creativity, as if it demonstrated a genuine adult level interaction and engagement with the ideas. I mean, you can sort of break it out into there's technical competencies, you know, grammar and writing things, and those are important. Certainly, clarity of expression is half of expression. But there's also intellectual rigor, level of sophistication, degree of engagement with the history of all that's involved with it, with, you know, theoretical and conceptual sophistication, all those kinds of criteria. But it's not an easy quantifiable thing. You know, what's the difference between a B and a B minus? Geez, there's these little wiggle rooms. Is it a B minus or a C plus, right? I think because some people struggle with those decisions on what exactly is the difference between a B minus and a C plus, and because grade inflation is ever on the rise, rubrics have been invented. Now, try to ask yourself about how grade inflation came about and why grade inflation is part of rubrics and how much grade inflation comes from either students who don't have the courage to accept that they're average, and there's nothing wrong with being average, but if you get a C, that's an average grade. But somehow no one wants to be average, which is very funny, right? This is this generation of everyone being special. But think of how it's also difficult for the professor, right? Some professors, they don't have the moxie or the courage to stand on their own and go, I'm sorry, that's good job, B minus, no, I'm sorry, that's actually a C plus. This is a C plus paper. I think the student says, well, what's the points? They want to niggle-figgle over the little particulars. I think if you're even asking over the particulars, you're missing it. The only question is, are you learning what you need to learn and becoming who you need to become in order for you to live the life that you've always dreamt of? That's what it's about. Are you living the life you've always dreamt of? Are you owning it? And whether that takes university or not, to sit in university and complain that you really have to be there when suffer through some bad teaching, it sounds a little bit, anyway, like someone who's afraid of going out and making it on their own. And instead, they're going to hold themselves hostage, pretend that someone else is holding them, and then gripe and sort of complain about it. There's going to be bad teaching. I think there's going to be bad teaching wherever you go, and you're going to have colleagues who aren't, you know, your fellow peers aren't necessarily going to be the best. Some of them will be awesome, and some of those professors you have are going to be awesome, right? I don't think you can condemn the whole institution. I think the thing you want to do is see if you can spread the fever by exemplar. Be the example that you want other people to live up to, and then just silently do your due and see what happens. Okay, thanks.